These are benign growths that occur within the uterine lining. Just like a thin and unhealthy endometrial lining, these also create a hostile environment for the implanting embryo. Polyps are small, soft overgrowth that occur within the endometrial lining, but fibroids, on the other hand, are more dense muscle tumors that occur within the muscle bulk of the uterus. And what is significant about fibroids is that they can distort the uterine cavity, and when they're particularly large, they can interfere with implantation, but also result in intrauterine growth restriction. That simply means that the baby is growing, but not growing to its full capacity because the fibroid is occupying a significant space within the uterus, thereby restricting how much space the baby has to be able to grow in. If you have gone through a failed IVF cycle and the reason was because you had multiple endometrial polyps or because you had fibroid that obstructed the implantation of the embryo, I am not only really sorry that you had to go through that experience, but I would say that is completely unnecessary. That's something that could have been prevented, and that is why I argue that often the preparation that is needed before you actually go through the momentum of going through an IVF cycle is just as important as going through the cycle itself, because in the 21st century we know a lot more about the causes that lead to an IVF cycle failure. There is no reason why you would not have had an ultrasound or quite possibly a hysteroscopy, because remember, ultrasounds might not pick up endometrial polyps, but you will only identify endometrial polyps through a hysteroscopy, and again, that's a camera that gets inserted into the uterus. Those would only be identified through doing a hysteroscopy. So particularly if you have suffered one, and definitely if you had 2 IVF cycle failures and you feel ready to go again, you must insist that you get a hysteroscopy done, because the hysteroscopy will look for any structural obstruction to the implantation of the embryo that will be inserted. Reproductive, so if you did not have a comprehensive ultrasound of your uterus before going for a cycle, I would argue you need to change your fertility specialist, because something as significant as a fibroids that will get in the way of implantation, it's no excuse that it was not identified before you went for the cycle. So you can see that by doing simple things, it is completely possible to identify and prevent IVF cycle failure.